Alright guys, here's your recording for today. I'm in the hallway today, so we might have some more distractions, but that's alright. Alright, I'm going to go over this first. First thing I'm going to go over is dividing fractions. Yesterday we did modeling of dividing fractions. Today we're going to do it algebraically. So we're going to go through the parts of that. This first one will take a little while for me to go through. I'm going to go through all of our steps, and then we'll go over our examples. First thing you want to do when you divide fractions, which is not the case in this one, but if it is, you want to turn all mixed numbers into improper fractions. Okay, so step one, make sure you write these down too. Step one, mixed numbers to improper fractions. You have to work with improper fractions first. Okay, so that's what you want to do first. Mix numbers into improper fractions. Alright, that's done here. Since they are not mixed numbers, we don't have to worry about that. Second thing you want to do is you want to rewrite the first fraction. You're not going to change it. You're just going to keep the first fraction the same. Okay, so you're going to rewrite the first fraction. So I'll show you that here. That's negative 2/5. Third thing we're going to do is we're going to turn our division into multiplication. So you're going to turn your division symbol into a multiplication symbol. So in order to divide fractions, we are actually going to be multiplying. So we turn our division into multiplication. The next step that we are going to do is we are going to take the reciprocal of the second number. The reciprocal, okay, is when you flip the numerator and the denominator. Okay? So when I flip the numerator and denominator, that's my reciprocal. So for example, a reciprocal, if I have 3/5, the reciprocal of that would be 5/3. If I had 2/8, the reciprocal of that would be 8/2. If I had 7, the reciprocal of that would be 1/7, because 7 is 7/1. So that's what a reciprocal is. So I'm going to take the reciprocal of my second fraction. I flip them. So that means the 7 is going to become my new numerator, and the 4 is going to become my new denominator. Step 5, you're going to look to cross-cancel, if you can. In this case, I can. So the 2 is going to become a 1, and the 4 is going to become a 2. And then final step is you are going to multiply. Okay, and remember it is numerator times numerator and denominator times denominator. So 1 times 7 is 7, 5 times 2 is 10, a negative times a positive is a negative, so you get negative 7/10. And that is your final answer. Okay? So make sure you write down all of those steps. If you need to pause it, go ahead and pause it. I'm going to move on to my next example. In our next example, we're going to have mixed numbers. So, step 1, remember, was to turn improper or mixed numbers into improper fractions. 4 times 6 is 24, plus 1 is 25. So it's 25/6 divided by 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5, negative 5/3. The negative does not affect your process. It just makes your answer negative. Next step is to turn into multiplication. So the first fraction stays the same. So it's 25/6 times, flip the second fraction, negative 3/5. The reciprocal is not affected by the negative sign. It is still negative. What makes numbers reciprocal is when you multiply them, that the answer is 1. So you need to, if they're negative, it stays negative, because a negative times a negative is a positive. Okay? That's what keeps it a reciprocal. Now I can look for cross-canceling. You cannot cross-cancel, guys, in division. You can only cross-cancel multiplication. So you have to flip it before you cross-cancel. When I cross-cancel, a 3 becomes a 1, the 6 becomes a 2, and over here the 5 becomes a 1, and this 25 becomes a 5. Now I can multiply across. 5 times 1 is 5, 2 times 1 is 2, a positive times a negative is negative. I do want to turn this into a mixed number. Okay, only time I can't is if there's a variable, which there's not in these. So I turn these in. So I'm going to get negative 5/2 turns into negative 2 1/2. And that's my answer. Okay. All right, if you need to pause that, go ahead. I'm going to move on to my next example. Oops. Oh. All right, in example 3. Now we're going to be dividing with whole numbers. All right. A, you want to join strips of wood that are 15 inches long and 1 5/8 inches wide to make, make a cutting board to make a cutting board that is at least 12 inches wide. How many strips are needed? So if I look at this, guys, if you look at my cutting board down here, I have 15 inches is how wide I want it to be. So that one I don't need to worry about. What I want to work with is my 12 inches wide that I want to at least have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide 12 divided by 1 5/8. Just like that. Now I'm going to turn these into improper fractions. So the 12 is going to become 12 over 1 divided by 8 times 1 plus 5 is 13 over 8. Okay? Now I'm going to turn it into improper fraction. So that's going to give me 12 over 1 times 8 over 13. Alright? I cannot do any cross-canceling, so I'm going to multiply this. 12 times 8 is 96. 1 times 13 is 13. Alright? And I'm going to see how many times 13 goes into 96, and it goes in 7 times, which is 91. So you have 7 and 5/13 strips. Since I'm cutting strips that are a specific length, I have to go up to my next number, so my final answer would be 8 strips. And that'll make it a little more than 12, but that's okay. I need it to be at least 12 inches. So my final answer is 8. Okay? So that's how you divide, and again, you turn them into improper fractions. Then you take the reciprocal. If you can do any cross-canceling, you do that, and then you get your final answer. Alright? As a little bonus down here in the next example, I'm just going to make this up, a little bonus, if we have variables involved. So let's say we have 2x divided by, or 2x over 3 divided by, let's do 10 over 9x. Okay? You follow the same steps. I do 2x over 3 times 9x over 10. I would cross cancel, so 3 become a 1, the 9 would become a 3. Here the 2 would become a 1, the 10 become a 5. Multiply across, so I have 1 times 3 is 3, x times x is x squared. 1 times 5 is 5, so I'd get 3x squared times 5. Now I do my answer. So that's how I do it with variables. Okay, that is all for tonight. You have a good night, and I will see you guys tomorrow.